Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, tankers of Blitz Universe, to the channel. I'm going to make a video, a type of video that I haven't done before on World of Tanks Blitz. Maybe I'm not a little bit nervous about it. I'm not sure how you're going to react to this type of video, because it's going to be a reaction video. And I'm going to react to the recent video that World of Tanks Blitz themselves have released on the channel, which is this one, a guide on how to play World of Tanks Blitz. Anybody who has been following my channel for some time knows that I really am into learning new players and let's say the intermediate type of players the game. I'm not for the try-hardy tournament unicums. There's not a lot of stuff that you can get on my channel that you don't already know. But then again, if you're a unicum, I doubt there will be really good channels that will teach you new tricks. Maybe just little bits and pieces, but like really new stuff, I don't think so. That said, talking about tutorials, Wargaming have done them before, obviously. They have tutorials, map tutorials. We have one on Yukon. There's one on playing the current skirmish mode as well. There is a map teaser over there. We have a tutorial on how to play on Normandy. There's a tutorial, I think, on Hellas as well somewhere. New Bay is here right over there. And if you would scroll all the way down, you would also find a tutorial on the now defunct and yes, good that they are gone from the game, the ATGMs. Subject of today obviously is the how to play WoT Blitz guide. How to win, question mark, tips and tricks. What is it? Tips and tricks. Yeah, there we go. And everyone should know this. Well, if you state things like everyone should know this, that's already a bold statement in a way. But we're going to watch the video. I'm going to pause it from time to time. I'm going to tell what I think of the whole thing. I hope to add a little bit to what they are saying, and then I'll just ask your opinion as well. So let's lock and load. First thing this already. If you've got skills, a rating, everybody can get a rating as long as you have a tier 7 tank and up. So that's not really new. It's for newcomers only, but you can get a rating fairly easily. Or you have the KV2 in your garage. Smasher feels disappointed.
Upon a time, a new tanker arrived in the game. He was eager to climb to the top, but soon, his vehicle was reduced to a smoking pile of scrap metal. Then he entered another battle, encountered experienced opponents, and was forced to watch the battle finish as a spectator. His road to the top had turned into a road to the garage. If you don't want this to happen, that's what they're gonna say. First advice would be, don't buy French light tanks. It's honestly, guys, it is just don't buy French light tanks. Not as a first starting line. Just don't. Okay. Don't want to share the same fate? Watch this video, learn our tips, and use them in battle. Start by adjusting the controls and graphics to suit your device. Effects, dynamic shadows, and anti-aliasing affect performance. Disable them if your device is weak.
Not a bad tip whatsoever. I don't think there's anybody who's going to argue with that. Oh, I want this, I want to have it, I want my game to look good, etc. Well, if you want to have your game look good, buy a console, buy a massive gaming PC. That's going to help a bit more, in my opinion. If you have a mobile device and the game can't handle it, just turn your settings down. You want to have a smooth game rather than a just laggy, I'm turning left now and then I'll bump into a building type of game.
Keep an eye on your FPS. If it drops below 30 during the battle, lower the settings. Stable performance is more important than graphics quality.
Thumbs up. Really good one. Next tip.
After the battle starts, team up with your allies. It's easier to win in a group than solo. Take advantage of your frontal armor and turn your gun in advance. If you want your turret to turn faster, turn the hull in the same direction. Gun dispersion on the move is quite high.
And there's a thing already which would say, what is dispersion? We all know that's the big circle. You should shoot over there, but when the dispersion is high, it can go everywhere basically. What they don't mention here, because this is for newcomers only, What they don't mention is the fact that the bigger the gun, the bigger the dispersion will be, and that bigger guns with big alpha damage will make it will shrink slower as well. That if you have more accurate guns, you can of course be more accurate. You will hit your targets easier. And what I also find interesting is that they're going to show a KV-1S against a Chevy, which is just driving like. They could kind of make this a two-way tip. If you want to make it harder for the enemy to hit you, just don't drive in a straight line. Plus, what they actually did was get like 3 tips in just about a matter of 20 seconds. Drive in a group. Drive around the corner. The KV-1 was basically going out sideways. It didn't stop before the corner and then slowly pulled around. It's good tips, but it's just bam! Straight into it. All the tips just all at once.
Stop and wait until you're fully aimed. This will make your shot more accurate. As for where and how to shoot, enable sniper mode to see which areas of the enemy's vehicle can be penetrated.
And then I'm thinking, because guys, you know I'm a teacher, at least I think most of you know. Why don't they mention then that you have to press this button to enter sniper mode? It's in the basic tutorial, I know that, but it's kind of lacking in this video. Enter sniper mode. How do I do that? Press the button. Or, if you're playing with a PC, use the scroll wheel. It's just little things like that will make this video just a bit better.
The most vulnerable spots are the rear, sides, and lower glacis plate. You have them too, so hide your lower glacis plate behind obstacles. You can use destroyed tanks, hills, and mounds as cover.
And then they're showing a Panzer 4G, which is basically all weak spots. There's no need to hide. You can penetrate that tank everywhere. I don't think that this is a good example of showing a tank with that Fonta armor. What would be a better one? Maybe even the KV-1S or a KV-1 or a tank at least with a good turret and some sloped hull armor. Not this one. This has a lower glacis plate and you can see you can penetrate it everywhere.
Watch the minimap so that the enemy doesn't approach you from the rear or sides unnoticed.
Can we please get this in the game as well, Wargaming? Thank you. That if we double tap quickly on the minimap, it goes zip.
It will also show you where your allies need help. If the enemy tank disappears right in front of your eyes,
no tank
don't
shoot push.
Panic. This just means that your team's tanks aren't close enough to spot it.
Wait. What? Spotting? Okay. I have a map. I know that. I can see a map right over there. Spotting close enough? How does this work actually? They failed to mention this. They have failed to mention it in the usual tutorial. They failed to mention that it takes 3 seconds for that light bulb to pop. That means that if the light bulb goes ping, you're already spotted. I mean, that's a thing. They could say that, they should say, in my opinion, that there's differences in spotting ranges between certain tanks. The higher tier the tank, the longer the spotting range. Big tanks with big guns have bad view range. Medium tanks and light tanks usually get higher spotting range. If you are spotted and you're not seeing the enemy, it might be that you're spotted by a light tank, so get into cover. And then they say, if a tank disappears right in front of you, it means your teammates are not spotting him. It might be that the tank moved behind cover and it has broken line of sight. Why isn't this mentioned? It is basic stuff. I know it, you know it. I'd say 95% of the people watching this video know it. But why isn't this in a basic video on how to play World of Tanks Blitz?
Bushes and fallen trees can serve as natural cover. Use them to hide. When it comes to selecting a tank, you can find all the tanks in a special section.
Okay, they're going to mention the tech tree. Bushes and fallen trees can act as cover. I predict there's going to be lots of tanks sitting in bushes, like everywhere. If you knock a tree down, guys, the enemy can see it, they will know there's a tank over there. No tank should bush, we all know that. what they should say is the terrain can be used as cover. Houses can be used as cover. If you are spotted and you can't see the enemy, sit behind a house, break line of sight, and wait for the enemy to make a mistake. Something like that. Not just knock a tree down and that's basically it. And they're knocking a tree down in the middle of nowhere. Just...
They are divided into nations and can be researched from Tier 1 to Tier 10. The way to Tier 3 will be fast. Play, earn credits, and combat experience, and unlock new vehicles. Starting from Tier 4, you'll need to choose the vehicle type.
The road to Tier 3 is going to be very quick. Yes, if you're going to play it right now, you have an X5 booster on the weekend, you're going to play skirmish. I don't think you actually can in a Tier 3, but that's beyond the point. You have these X3 certificates, you can get a Tier 3 tank within one battle. And if you're then very lucky, you will have a Tier 4 tank. They're going to say now that the lines are going to expand. They're going to go for the heavies, the tank destroyers, medium tanks, light tanks. What they are going to say here is basically that you should go for the heavy tanks first. And they're not mentioning it in as many words as I'm going to do it right now. But it kind of appears that they are saying you should go for a IS-7 first. Or you should go for another Tier 10 heavy first. Don't do it, guys. Because there's one thing, and I'm going to tell you why it is bad to go for just one tank. They failed to mention it. I'm going to mention it to you. Just watch.
Heavy tanks, medium tanks, light tanks, or tank destroyers. Heavy tanks are the most powerful in World of Tanks Blitz. Research them first as they forgive some mistakes. Heavies feature tons of hit points and thick armor. This will give you enough time to aim and deal damage. Heavies perform best at defense or breaking through enemy lines.
Okay, fair enough. Heavies are the most powerful tanks in the game now. It comes as no surprise that if you want to be effective in the game at the moment, the best performing tanks are the heavy tanks. IS-4 at the top, Mouse at the top. In Tier 5 you have the Tier 1 heavy, you have the BDR. Those are the really well performing tanks. And there are a lot of heavy tanks that just outperform basically any tank. They can do so many roles. They have it as a con that they have low maneuverability. There's a lot of tanks, heavy tanks, that disagree now. You can get the American tanks and they are quite mobile. The Russian heavies, they can go to quick positions, to critical positions very quickly. I don't mind them saying that the heavy tanks are currently the best tank in class in the game, because it's just what it is. But it will just reinforce the meta. That, in my opinion, is a bit of a problem. Plus, it completely generalizes what is happening. Mouse, yes, has got poor maneuverability. IS-7, I don't think so. And in terms of armor, some of them are not as forgiving as you might think. It's very generalized, which, of course, needs to be done in a 5-minute and 14 seconds video, but there's more to expand on that. So let's watch what they have to say about medium tanks, about American medium tanks.
Medium tanks are support vehicles. They quickly take good positions and cover allies from the flanks. But remember, medium tanks can't always penetrate the enemy's front.
Let's go back just a little bit, because we have this guy over here. Good mobility, well, fair enough. Strong turret, yes, kind of. Low penetration. I don't really think a lot of the medium tanks have like really low penetration. They have sufficient penetration. And what they're also showing you over here is that you sit with that tank with your pattern sitting in front of a mouse. Armor not pierced. No, indeed it wasn't pierced. I think it's interesting to see this actually, because I think you can, if you use the calibrated shells, pierce the front of a mouse. But what they should say over here is that medium tanks are not meant for the front line per se. They should flank and provide spotting and be a little bit sneaky. They're going to talk about the tank destroyers now.
Tank destroyers present a challenge for rookies. They are slow vehicles with good concealment and an excellent gun. Most of them have a cabin instead of a turret. When you play them, you'll need to know the secluded places on the map and be wary of more mobile tanks.
When you play them, you need to know the secluded places on the map. That's just marketing for TD, go camp.
That's what they're basically saying. Plus, most of them have a fixed gun, they have good concealment, Grill doesn't, etc. And even with the tank destroyers, there's a lot of things to be said. Again, very generalized over here. What they basically said about the Jagdpanzer E100 over there. High damage, good concealment. This tank is one of the worst at concealment. Low speed, yes, it does. Foch 145 doesn't. So this is not a really good tank destroyer, in my opinion. Not a good example. Let's put it that way. And yes, you have to be wary of the flanking tanks, but okay.
Last but not least, light tanks. They're the fastest vehicles in the game. Unlike other tanks, they have almost no armor. Light tanks are suitable for the most experienced players. They're the first to spot the enemy, strike from unexpected directions, and spin around heavy vehicles. They're completely unforgiving. One wrong move and you're in the garage.
Budget 25T, 5 red tanks, very unforgiving. As a light tank, you should act as the eyes and ears of your team. You should spot for the enemy, try to gather intelligence, take a look at the minimap, where are the enemies, and then you will go back into your own lines, because working as a group is better than working alone.
You can research all branches simultaneously. The difference between the 4 vehicle types will be especially noticeable starting from Tier 5. Heavy tanks and some tank destroyers can repel enemy shells with the upper glacis plate. This is called blocking damage. There are 2 types of blocking damage, depending on the shape of the upper glacis plate. If the vehicle has a pike nose, position it perpendicular to the shot. In other cases, tilt the hull to make it harder for shells to penetrate your tank's frontal armor.
Way too much information right in the beginning. The first section which made me laugh was this. Just the Jagdpanzer E100. You can bounce shots with your upper glacis. Yeah, sure, buddy, but I mean, the tank is now sitting like this. Anybody who plays in these tiers knows that you can penetrate the cheeks of a Jagdpanzer E100 fairly easily. Yes, you can bounce with the lower or with the upper glacis plate. Sorry, I meant lower glacis. I mentioned lower glacis. I meant upper glacis. You can bounce with this, but if they watch the red skin, then they're gonna shoot right over here. So this is just kind of stupid. Then they mentioned the pike nose. What's a pike nose? Just this whole thingy about blocking damage would warrant a completely standalone video. And they're also going to mention the over-angling here on the mouse. Watch.
In other cases, tilt the hull to make it harder for shells to penetrate your tank's frontal armor. But don't overdo it, or else you'll risk exposing your weak spots.
That's not bad. Not bad advice. Guys, you need to angle it a little bit. You need to tilt. I would add to it, wait for the enemy to shoot, only then return fire, something like that. And they're actually showing you that if you over-angle your tank, you will get shot. And then I'm going to talk about hull down over here, which is not a bad thing whatsoever. But again, it is just way too much, I think, in just one little video.
Medium tanks typically boast strong turret armor. This enables them to take advantage of irregular terrain and play hull down, which hides the hull behind cover to leave only the turret exposed. To win in light tanks, stay on the move. If you have to fight the...
What? Stay on the move? No. To win in light tanks, spot for the enemy. Don't make stupid mistakes. Yes, sort of keep driving around, but not stay on the move. We're going to have like zoom, 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 all guns blazing, yellow Rambo style. Lot of light tanks is going. I watched that video from World of Tanks Blitz and they told me to stay on the move.
The enemy one-on-one, take advantage of your maneuverability. Spin around your opponent and leave it no chance to escape.
Which is just World of Tanks Blitz saying shoot him up the ass.
Now's the perfect time to go into battle. Improve your skills and score victories in World of Tanks Blitz. Tap like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel, and good luck on the battlefield.
Okay, recap guys, recap on this whole video. I've watched it a few times now, and as said, I'm a teacher and my video is already way too lengthy and longer than I anticipated, but that's all well and good. I think that this video is... it gets a thumbs up from me just for the subject, just for having that tutorial. But what have they actually told us now? What did they actually learn us? I mean, I know the game, there's nothing new in it for me, but they've told us about dispersion, they've told us about moving turret and hull together, they told us about going around the corner, and they told us about blocking damage, and about a pike nose, and about the tank types, and they've shown us all the tier 10 tanks. They haven't mentioned anything about crew training. They have not mentioned that it would be a good idea, because they say from tier 5 and up the roles are going to be more diverse. Please mention to the new players that they should stay at tier 4 and 5 and play as many of those tanks as possible. They could tell something about crew skills. Ladies and gentlemen, tankers of Blitz Universe, dear subscribers, dear players of the game, play all 4 tanks, 4 tank types simultaneously to train your crews. That would be a good thing. Why so? It will make you more experienced. Remember that if you get shot by a big gun, you will lose a lot of health. Try to look at the lineup and try to figure out what tanks are stronger or not. What tanks should I watch out for? If you are a light tank, or if you're a quick tank with a low alpha, because they could show that as well, all the statistics, etc. If you have low alpha per shot, it means you will have to expose quite a lot. Don't pick stupid fights. Something like that. Just really basic stuff on how to approach the game. Things like you can't win in the first 30 seconds, but you can lose the game by just going in August Blazing YOLO Rambo mode style. Yes, going as a group is fine. That's always well and good. But they could mention something like, if there's 7 people sitting in one road, it's easy pickings for the enemy. Don't sit right behind your teammates. There is so much more to say over here, and I could make a month of tutorial videos on all sorts of subjects, really diversify my content. They haven't mentioned ammo types, they haven't mentioned gun constraints, they haven't mentioned the red line that shows you when you're going hull down and you don't have any more gun depression. They haven't mentioned the camo that will improve. They don't mention that you're going to be less visible when you're moving, when you're shooting, etc. Those things should be in the video as well. That should be like the basic tips. And as I said, it's only the first video. They can do tons of videos, and I hope they will. I really hope they will. But in my opinion, this is a good start, but by no means a brilliant one. And there's some very sarcastic comments below as well, and a lot of people who state that you should just buy a tier 8 tank and then you're going to be golden, which in a way is true, because the tier 8 tanks currently are really strong. But yeah, if we would have to grade this one, I would say this would be like 6.5 out of 10. Because it's a good effort, it has a lot of good tips in it, but it's just, it is way too much trying to pack it into one little package. I'm going to do a few tutorials, guys. I think I'm going to start tutorial week by Monday. Please tell me what you think of these types of videos. Please like and subscribe to my channel and to World of Tanks Blitz if you haven't already. And I'll catch you all on the next one. Cheers, happy tanking, bye bye.